Martin dress his wound in an oddly intimate way. Afterward, she gently blew on it to ease the pain. This gesture made Martin, who had been single for 20 years, feel his blood boil. Looking at the enchanting beauty before him, he quickly turned away to compose himself. But the stirring in his heart had already begun to swell. He eventually stopped in his tracks. In a moment of passion, Martin turned around and kissed Lena. Just like that, the attraction between them ignited like wildfire, and an intense affair became inevitable. Martin was a student working part-time, while Lena was his beautiful neighbor. After their first taste of forbidden fruit, they constantly thought about each other in secret. Martin followed Lena into the convenience store, where she suddenly pulled him to the back door. They immediately began their passionate encounter right there. Just then, the doorbell rang. Lost in each other, they didn't hear it until the sound of Lena's husband's footsteps approached. They froze in fear. A bottle fell over, but Martin quickly caught it with his foot. The wealthy husband didn't come to investigate. Lena hurried inside, pretending she had just come from the bathroom, and quickly left with her husband. One day, the wealthy husband invited Martin to go sailing on his yacht. Watching the couple's affectionate behavior made Martin feel uncomfortable. On the yacht, he accidentally noticed scars on Lena's legs. Martin realized she had been abused by her husband again. Though it pained him, he felt powerless. While the husband was lighting a cigarette, the sail suddenly came loose and crashed down. Although it looked intentional, the husband didn't think much of it, believing it was just an accident. In the days that followed, Lena often called Martin to vent, crying about being abused daily. Despite Martin's attempts to comfort her, something irreversible eventually happened. One day, Lena suddenly called Martin. She looked nervous and terrified, saying she needed him to come to her house immediately. Martin didn't realize the severity of the situation until he arrived. He had thought her husband had discovered their relationship, but when he saw the scene, he was shocked. The husband lay motionless on the floor, covered in blood. Martin rushed over to check, but the man was already dead. Lena explained that during another instance of abuse, she had accidentally killed her husband in self-defense. She was terrified and didn't know what to do. Martin wanted to call the police, but Lena firmly refused. She didn't want to spend the rest of her life in prison. Even though it was self-defense, her husband's family would hire the best lawyers to ensure she went to jail. She begged Martin for help. Martin, understanding the gravity of the situation, appeared hesitant. Seeing this, Lena played on his emotions, saying she shouldn't have dragged him into this and that she would face it alone. To protect the woman he loved, Martin ultimately made an unwise choice. He calmed her down and began staging the husband's death as an accident. He cleaned the scene thoroughly, put the body in the car trunk, and when night fell, moved it to the husband's boat. He thought everything would go unnoticed, but a security guard on patrol spotted him. Martin had to maintain his composure, lighting a cigarette like the husband would, making the guard believe he was the wealthy man. Once alone, he set the boat on fire and swam back to shore. The police soon discovered the boat's remains with the husband's ID inside. After investigation, they confirmed the victim's identity. The wife, naturally, was questioned. Lena claimed her husband had been drunk the night before. They had argued, and then he went sailing alone. She said she had no idea what happened after that. The police were skeptical. They discovered the husband had a substantial accident insurance policy with Lena as the beneficiary. They even suspected she might have had an affair, but Lena played the victim, and facing these baseless accusations, she simply walked away.